Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Now in my philodendron collection I have some very old specimens, like this white princess here that's still very much alive, or this philodendron parvilobum Ecuagenera, a very old plant with new growth both at the top and at the bottom. But today I want to show you 17 juvenile philos that I should keep an eye on because they are about to become way bigger. This philodendron tripartitum is not even 4 inches tall, but yet it already produced 12 leaves. This is what it looked like when I got it as a baby plant, and I think it definitely helped that I've been growing it close to this growing lamp. And this guy here is a very good example of how philodendrons are very accomplished shapeshifters. The juvenile leaves at the bottom of the plant look pretty basic, but the 3 newest leaves on top are quite different and they reveal the true adult shape of the leaves, with 3 different parts, hence the name Philodendron tripartitum. Okay, next up is one of my Philodendron billietiae plants. I will show you a picture that's taken when I got this plant as a baby plant, and this guy has been asleep for ages, but since last summer it woke up and finally it decided to look like a true billietiae. Better late than never. And as you can see, at the moment it is even working on a new leaf even though it's winter time. At the moment it only has a small stick for support, so I should definitely give it a moss ball in the next coming days. Alright, the next juvenile philodendron is this esmeraldense narrow. Now it looks like just one plant, but this container actually has 4 different one-leaf cuttings of my mother plant in it. So it's actually 4 plants that you're seeing. So when these guys start growing, they should normally give me a very full container. And all that's left for me to do is give these guys a moss ball as soon as possible, because these philodendrons are known to be very fast climbers. One young philodendron that I just gave a moss ball is this Oxapapense fedec. This here is a top cutting that I took from my mother plant. It's also a very fast climber, but I did notice that this species of philodendron always tends to leave a lot of space between the leaves, even when it gets a lot of light. So I don't really know why it produces a lot of stem and few leaves. Next up are these 2 philodendron golden dragon plants, one of my favorite philodendron species, mainly because the leaves of this plant can basically have any possible shape, so no 2 leaves of this plant are ever the same. These guys also grow like crazy and they are very resilient. And they also have this very delicate leaf variegation that I quite like. So this is a philodendron species I would definitely recommend. And by the way, these guys that you're seeing here are once again cuttings that I took from my original mother plant. And when you take a closer look at the aerial roots on the small one here on the left, you can just sense that this plant is getting ready to climb way higher than the stick that I gave it for the time being. So, as I said before, if you're looking for a cool philodendron, the golden dragon is definitely an excellent choice. This young philodendron bonifaziae has a special place in my collection. It's a cutting from my mother plant once again, and it has actually spent 2 years growing in perlite in a closed propagation box, where it produced lots of aerial roots. And now that I repotted it in soil, it's ready to start climbing. The only thing missing is some kind of trellis to support this plant, even though I quite like the way it looks without any support. Here we got 2 Philodendron elegans cuttings growing together, and once again when you look at these juvenile leaves you would never guess or know that this is actually Philodendron elegans. So if you have never seen an adult leaf of the elegans, check it out on the internet. You'll see the difference is quite dramatic. Now to the left we once again have two cuttings, but this time from the Philodendron bannoniae. And contrary to the elegans on the right, the bannoniae cuttings do have juvenile leaves that quite look the same as their adult leaves. So not all philodendrons have different juvenile and adult leaves. Not only this Philodendron bannoniae, but for instance also the heart-shaped philodendron or the Philodendron micans or Philodendron Brasil. Okay, so here we got my two Philodendron Florida ghost plants. I got both of them as baby plants, and you can see here how tiny and fragile they looked when I got them more or less 2 years ago. For the last 2 years they have been growing quite slowly, I must say, but now they finally seem ready for adulthood, which means that I will have to repot them pretty soon, and also I will have to give them some kind of support so they can climb. Now you can see some variegation on some of the leaves, but to me they basically look like the plain Florida green species. This Philodendron Ring of Fire I also got as a baby plant 2 years ago, as you can see right here. And once again, the time it took from baby plant to juvenile plant was more or less 2 years. So if you want to buy baby plants, know that you'll have to be very patient. The advantage of buying baby plants, on the other hand, is of course that they are way cheaper. They take up little space and it's a lot of fun to just watch them grow. The next juvenile philodendron I would like to show today is this Philodendron Moonlight. And as you might have guessed by now, I also got this one as a baby plant and I paid €4 for it. Now the newest leaf is a very bright green one, but I do see some spots on it that get me a bit worried. So after filming, I think I'm gonna treat this plant just to be sure that it doesn't get attacked by some pest or disease. The next plant I want to show is called the Philodendron Birkin Pink. And yes, it's yet another one that I got as a baby plant. But weirdly enough, so far this guy is not showing off any pink whatsoever, even though I'm growing it very close to a growing light. So for the time being, this plant looks more like a Philodendron Red Emerald, but who knows, in the future it might show its true colors after all. And talking of the Philodendron Birkin, this here is the regular Philodendron Birkin. It's actually a cutting that I took from my mother plant, and as an experiment I put it in pon. And as it turns out, this Birkin really seems to enjoy growing in pon. It has made lots of new variegated leaves and it looks very healthy overall. Now I'm somewhat ashamed to show you the next plant, which is a Philodendron Atabapoense. And when I got it, I put it at the back of a plant shelf and then I kind of forgot about it. So it ended up vining without any support, and well, here we are now. So I think the best solution would probably be to use all the small leaves for propagation so that this guy here can get a totally new fresh start. And just for fun I want to show you this container that I also discovered today at the back of a plant shelf. It's a silver sword cutting growing quietly together with a baby Philodendron Brasil. Alright, the final plant in today's video is this juvenile Philodendron Ring of Fire Gold that also took ages before waking up. And you can see all the tiny baby leaves at the bottom of the plant that survived. And recently, as I said, the plant finally woke up and produced 4 somewhat bigger leaves. So let's hope this guy doesn't fall asleep again. Okay, that's all for today's video. Thank you very much for clicking on it. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking it and or subscribing to my channel. For now, I wish you a very nice day and I hope to see you back real soon on my channel. Bye bye.